If you're starting a movie recap video for Escape Plan, you want something punchy, suspenseful, and instantly gripping. Here's a strong intro you can use. Imagine a prison that was designed to be unbreakable, built from the inside out to hold the most dangerous criminals on Earth. No one knows where it is. No one knows how to escape it. But one man has built his entire career on doing the impossible. Ray Breslin isn't just any security expert. He tests maximum security prisons by breaking out of them. Every flaw, every weakness, every hidden escape route, he finds them all. Until one day, he's betrayed. Waking up inside a secret, high-tech prison known only as the Tomb, Breslin realizes this isn't part of any job. This is personal. And this time, the rules have changed. To survive, he'll need help from an unexpected ally, Rotmeier, and together, they'll attempt something no one has ever done before. Escape the world's most secure prison.
He holds the Allen kin, seems to be a devout believer. But surprisingly, he is doing a special job. In the prison built by 17 million people, the prison guard brought breakfast, but Lay showed a face that was waiting for the east wind. Then, he first picked up the milk box, casually asked the prison guard the time now, and then counted alone in the prison. In his eyes, there seemed to be no error for a second. At this time, a car came out of the prison, and a pretty girl came down from above. Suddenly, he pressed the remote control in his hand, and the car exploded in the next second. The sound instantly alarmed the whole prison. At this time, the prison guard immediately alerted, but found that there was nothing wrong with the prisoner in the surveillance. At the same time, the explosion sound instantly attracted the firefighters next door. But when a prison guard looked at the thunder in the prison, he only saw the Allen kin on the ground. He didn't have time to hesitate, and the prison guard immediately issued an alarm. Soon, the firefighters rushed to the scene of the explosion. Just when everyone was busy, suddenly, a firefighter's figure quickly jumped into a car. At this time, the fire was put out, and Lay also successfully escaped. Although he was so relaxed, there was a lot of gold in it. What is the prison? Lay divided it into 3 steps. The first is to understand the layout of the prison. The second is to understand the daily routine of the prison. The third is to cooperate. Seeing this, I think everyone should know what Lay's job is. As for how to escape from the prison, don't slip away next time, please look down. After Lay was locked in the prison, he first learned about the layout of the prison and found the weakest point inside. And the weakest point of this luxurious prison is in the confinement room. 17 million things were made using the most advanced technology. But unexpectedly, next to the first step that Lay took advantage of this was to enter the confinement room. First, he had to see the sign with his fist. Then, he was soon locked in the small black room. He first carefully observed the guard's habits, because the prisoner would smoke every 30 seconds before the release. And Lay had 7 minutes a day without being monitored by the guards. Once he understood this rule, he found the time to escape. All Lay had to do was to pick a good day. He handed the ordinary letter to his teammates, then he cracked it and determined the date of action. At this time, the prison chief asked, "How did you open the password lock on each door?" I don't know if you still remember that milk box. There was a thin layer of wax on the inside of the box. The reason why Lay stepped on it was to get the wax inside. As long as he covered it with the keyboard of the password lock, the guards would leave a sign. When he returned to the cell next time, he could get the password. With it, as long as Lay touched the keyboard, he could easily open the cell door. Then, in the midst of the explosion, he climbed into the air vent and came to the fire station next door. In the end, he pretended to be a firefighter and escaped. The prison chief was very angry. But what he didn't know was that Lay was born in prison. So he came to test the safety of the prison. Before that, he had escaped from 14 prisons. He has never failed, and this is Lay's special skill. Boss Chieni didn't work in the office and only thought about prison every day. He wanted to get a big order worth 5 million yuan that day. But he was accidentally sent to a luxury prison of 5 stars. And the prisoners here are not Subject to the system and have not been convicted. Those who sent them in didn't want to see them again. Not only that, the location of the prison is confidential. Those who have heard of it only know that. The name of this prison is Living Tomb. Lei did not want to take the risk. But he was attracted by the double gold. According to the planned plan, he got the evacuation password in advance. Because if there was something wrong, he could run away through the internal force. Then he went straight into the internal force tracker on his ARM.I. In the end, he was taken away by a group of masked people. Unexpectedly, this group of people didn't play by the rules. The first thing that got Lei in the car was to remove the tracking device in his body. Then there was a needle on his neck that he opened his eyes again and lived in a luxurious 5-star bedroom. It was a single room. The transparent wall made people close their eyes. Not only was there no privacy, but he was monitored 24 hours a day. Lei finally felt the crisis this time. Faced with the interrogation of the prison chief, he directly said the evacuation password. He thought the operation was over. What is surprising is that the prison chief did not plan to buy the account. Instead, he warned him not to try to escape, because this is a living tomb. No one can get out of here alive. As he was thinking about how to escape, the gang of the prison suddenly came to the door and was ready to teach this newcomer a lesson. At this time, Anoa suddenly appeared with his men and stopped the crisis in time. And he seemed to know Lei's fake name. Then he kept trying to get close to him and said that he could help Lei here. During the break, Lei kept observing the four corners of the prison and found that it was almost sealed. If he wanted to escape from here, he had to start from the confinement room. Unexpectedly, Anoa accidentally heard this request and knocked him down with one punch. Soon the police came and locked the two people directly in the confinement room. Then he found that the four corners of the prison were surrounded by steel plates. It was difficult for him to escape from there. Suddenly, a dazzling beam of light opened and made him unable to open his eyes. Lei was lying on the ground, but he accidentally found a nail on the ground. He thought of a way in an instant. After coming out, he made a deal with Anoa immediately. As long as he got a piece of metal for him, he could help him get out of here. But what was unexpected was that Anoa turned around and told the guards next to him that he wanted to kill Horse. He thought he was going to kill him. He didn't want to, but he played horse. Then he was tortured by a few guards on the ground with a pipe that he was almost broken in the stomach by the water. When everyone thought Anoa was dead, he suddenly climbed to the bottom of the table. Yujing thought he was looking for a place to hide, that he pulled him back in a hurry. Anoa quickly took a piece of metal from the bottom of the table and was sent back to the prison by Yujing. When he saw that piece of metal, Lei finally told him his real identity. The two of them started to work together. Through observation, Lei guessed that the whole prison might be built underground or in a cave in a canyon. The structure of the prison is in a vertical state and the confinement room is at the bottom. If you go up along the confinement room, you may be able to return to the ground. The first time he was locked in the confinement room, he found that the environment there was particularly humid. In this case, Mao Ding would definitely show up. Using this, Lei opened his brain. So he asked Anoa to find a piece of metal and then shine it through the strong light. As long as the heat is concentrated on the steel plate and let it expand, Mao Ding will fall off automatically, and this is how Lei escaped. Then the two of them rushed to do it. Lei first brushed the surface of the metal with toothpaste, then let Anoa make trouble in the prison. The two of them came to the confinement room again. Then Lei took out the prepared metal and used the strong light to reflect it on the steel plate. Unexpectedly, Mao Ding fell off very quickly. At the same time, Anoa sent a signal to attract Holt's attention again. And Lei quickly opened the steel plate and dove into the ground. After a lot of effort, he finally came to the ground along the pipe. Next, something unexpected happened. The man is a fishing expert. On this day, he finally escaped from the prison, but he found himself in the endless sea. At this moment, Lei's heart was completely broken. He had no choice but to return to the prison again. Faced with the interrogation of his old partner, Ah no, Lay could only say he didn't know. At this time, when the prison chief Holt came to the confinement room, he accidentally found Mao Ding on the ground, then he lightly licked it. At this moment, he knew that there must be something wrong with it. Through the investigation, Holt discovered Lay's identity. It turned out that he was the famous prison escape master. And this private prison on the sea was built by Lay's book. After that, Holt immediately contacted the person who sent him in. Unexpectedly, this person was Lay's partner. He wanted Lay to be locked in this prison forever. After receiving the order, Holt kept torturing him. This time, Lay was in despair. There is no specific location in a prison on the sea. There is an endless sea around. He knew that he was really in big trouble this time. It is likely that he will be locked here forever. Just before his despair, Anoa made him gain confidence again. In fact, Lay had already figured out the rules here. In order to prevent the prisoner from escaping, Holt deliberately messed up the prison shift time. He also put a mask on each guard. Although he couldn't see the expression on their faces, Holt couldn't change their habits. On the left is a prison guard who loves to walk. On the right is a guy with leprosy. When the two partners are together, they always love to go around. But they always walk one round at the first 128 steps. Then separate. After figuring out the rules, Lay told Anoa that they only had a kind doctor left. Then Lay pretended to be sick and was sent to the infirmary to test whether this doctor would help him or not. After seeing him hesitating, he pretended to fall down and took a bag of leaves from the table. Then he asked Anoa to bring a pen and a pair of glasses. In this way, a simple 6-point system was completed. With it, he could measure the corner of the sea surface and the North Pole. So he got the latitude. Now all he needs is someone to get on the deck. Then Anoa found the big bald head of the prison. He hoped he would implement this plan and proposed his own exchange conditions. At this time, Holt was desperately looking for a man named Mahamud. And only Anoa knew his location. So he found Lay and tried to get him to find out where Mahamud was from Anoa's mouth. It was using this point that Lay temporarily avoided Holt's torture. Then Holt got the right to get on the deck from Holt. That he first looked up at the night sky and pretended to make a prayer. Then he took advantage of the guard's inattention and took out the 6-point system Anoa gave him. According to the observation method, he got the specific latitude of this ship. After Lay's accurate calculation, he successfully positioned himself in the Sea of Morocco. Coincidentally, Anoa had an acquaintance here. Now as long as he sends out the information, he can call for help. At this time, Lay thought again and again that he still decided to put this breakthrough point on the doctor. He came to the infirmary again and successfully attracted his attention with his true identity. Under Lay's many requests, the doctor finally agreed to send him an email. After everything was ready, this day Holt found out from the surveillance that Lay seemed to be knocking on the glass every night. At this time, he suspected that Lay was transmitting the Morse code. Then he hurried to find a book to start decoding. He soon got the contents of the transmission. After Holt knew it, he immediately assigned more people to the sea ward. But what he didn't know was that Lay was in a panic. At the same time, the doctor sent a designated email to Lay with a computer. Soon, the guards in the area where Lay was located were transferred away. In the next second, the two of them were rescued. And Lay did not disappoint the public. He escaped from the prison again. On the beach, Lay seemed to discover Anoa's true identity. It turned out that he was Mannheim. That Holt was looking for. And this meticulously planned fishing operation was to rescue Arnold. The codename is Lay's fake name.